Hey man, you know how it is. We get a little bit older, you know, got more responsibilities, have to go to work, gotta raise the kids, make lunches, gotta eat, gotta exercise. There's too much shit to do. I don't have time to play video games anymore. And it sucks because it's like one of my favorite things to do in my spare time. Well, luckily I have a phone, and I guess it kind of does pretty much run Windows on it. I could play games on my phone and mobile games and stuff. I don't really have time to even do that though. Oh, idle games, helping everyone and their dads be able to actually play video games so that they have 5 spare minutes whenever they're taking a shit on the toilet. But not all idle games are created equal. Some of these shits suck. Most of them are cash traps just dedicated to you spending as much money as possible to try and get a little bit of an advantage over everybody else. But some of them are actually legitimately pretty good, and you could definitely get addicted to these things. With a genre as saturated as idle games and clicker games in the Play Store, it is literally impossible to sort out the bad from the good ones. Lucky for you, I have no life. I've played so fucking many of them, so I'm just gonna go over the best ones I've played and put them on a tier list. But if there's any that like you played that I didn't mention, if you want to comment about it, go ahead and comment about it. It's pretty much a directory. Search for what you need. Idle Heroes is just going to be the golden standard A here. Idle Heroes pretty much set the bar for idle games these days, and there's so many functions that come from Idle Heroes that have just been implemented into every single idle game that it's impossible to not mention it. If you've never played an idle game before, this is probably going to be a good one to start. It's going to get your bare bones. You're going to get your sea legs on this one. It's going to teach you about VIP. It's going to teach you about pay to win. It's going to teach you about PvP. All in all, this is a very good beginner idle game. It's going to teach you a lot of the things that you need to know about every other idle game you'll experience from that point forward. A tier. So Almost a Hero is another subsection of Idle Heroes. It's an auto battler where you advance stages. The farther you get in the stages, the more rewards you get to upgrade your characters. And then of course you have the RNG of pulling chests or loot boxes or whatever in order to upgrade your characters even more. Super duper beginner friendly. I would recommend this as well as being a first idle game for you to play because it's really not all that complicated, and you could get a taste of what some of the numbers in idle games are like because usually they start stemming into exponential numbers. There's not a lot of competition for Almost a Hero. It's practically a single player game, and for that reason I'll give it a B. Cookie Clicker, this one's a meme. It's a clicker game, a subset of idle game where you have to click, and clicking will net you income in Cookie Clicker. Your income is cookies. So the more you click, the more cookies you get, and you can use those cookies to buy cookie factories and get all sorts of idle rewards. It's one of those idle games where the more you play, the less you have to play because you're just stacking numbers at that point. It's like the joy of enjoying passive income just only on a video game, but it is pretty manual, pretty boring, pretty basic, pretty vanilla, nothing really too special about it, and there's some other clicker games that are way better. This one is just wildly famous. No idea how, no idea why. They don't deserve it. D tier. Alright, so ignoring Cookie Clicker, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to one of the good clicker ones from that. Clicker Heroes. This one involves you unlocking certain characters. The farther you get, you just tappity to kill the guys, and then you can unlock other characters that do damage for you. You have a choice of either building yourself to play it manually and do your tappity tap all day, or you could build it idle. It's a really good game for only having to open it twice a day and just level up people as much as you want. And then turn it off until tomorrow. If you want some riveting action gameplay, this is definitely not it. But if you're just bored on the toilet and you want to upgrade a few guys and then maybe click a couple times, really good for that. I'll put it in the B tier. Merge Dragons. Now we're moving into another sect of these idle games. Merging games are where you basically tap the screen to summon a unit, tap the screen to summon that same unit again, and then you combine those 2 units to make a stronger one. You keep repeating that process, combining over and over to try and make, you know, the strongest guy in the game so that you're just unbeatable. Merge Dragons is one of those games that's good for replayability because it's always interesting to log in and be excited to see a new dragon that you haven't seen before because you've accumulated enough of the lower rank ones in order to merge one of the bigger ones. Has PvP, has PvE. You could either spend 6 hours on it if you want, or you could spend 15 minutes a day. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's not very competitive. It's not an esport or anything like that. I'll give Merge Dragons an A tier. Pewdiepie's Tuber Simulator. Now this is the epitome of an idle game. This is like the perfect idle game by standard definition. Literally upload videos. It gives you a selection of videos to upload. You choose the one you want to upload and you just wait, rack in some views. You know, you could pretty much do that on YouTube without having to play a video game to do it. But, you know, YouTube isn't really idle, unfortunately. Tuber Simulator, though, is idle, and it's pretty nice. You get to decorate your office or whatever. You can buy different stuff with the money you make from views. It gets pretty boring pretty fast. As long as you enjoy seeing your subs go up and your views go up, I guess, then it's going to do it for you. But if you want something, you know, some sort of changing gameplay, you're really not going to see that with Tuber Simulator. I give it a D. Summoner's Greed. Now, these dudes have some insane advertisement game. They're like on par with Raid Shadow Legends whenever it comes to advertisements in my book. It's pretty cool. It's like an auto tower defense where you get to summon units. You know, you get the RNG and gacha of summoning whatever unit you want to put on the field. You know, you continuously fail a level and then it cycles back a few levels so that you could farm some more gold, log in the next day, level up, and then get a little bit farther. Pretty fun and endearing for a couple days, but there's not a lot of game modes and there's not a bunch of different things to do on it. There are different sects of idle games that have a lot to do, and there's some that don't have a lot to do. This happens to be one of the ones that don't have a lot to do. And honestly, even if it is an idle game and you only want to play it 15 minutes to an hour a day, you kind of want those 15 minutes to an hour to be somewhat interesting, and it's only interesting for a little bit. Drop it in the sea. Ooh La La Idle Adventure is 100% one of the best idle games I've ever played in my life. You're like a caveman. It's an auto runner where you're just running constantly, running into dragons, fighting dragons. But the cool thing is you can tame dragons or the monsters or whatever, the dinosaurs. You can breed them. You get gear that you can build up, like RPG gear with stats that you can build up on your character. You form a squad with other people to take down bosses and raid bosses and stuff. And you can create multiple characters to have in your own squad, and you could just make your own squad with your own characters. The replayability of Ooh La La Idle Adventure is 100% unmatched. S tier, Ooh La La, easy S tier. Coin Dragon Master is another subsect of these idle games that is like a casino roulette wheel. You pull the roulette wheel or press the button or whatever, deposit some coins that the game has you, usually in-game currency, and then it has a chance to give you more coins back or you lose out. The cool thing about this one is you actually get a team of dragons to farm. You like pull for dragons and stuff, and there's a PvP with some theory crafting on your team. You can't really build them too much, and you do have to pull duplicates. It's a little bit rough. It's a pretty easy game to compete in. People do not take it very seriously, so I do recommend it. But if you have a gambling problem, it could possibly trigger some PTSD. I'll put it in the D tier for PTSD tier. Forest Island, another AFK currency farmer, where you just have a little island and you collect resources from the animals and plants on your island. Using those resources, you can add more animals and more plants to your island. Really calming, really peaceful. That's like the whole point of the game. Its whole selling point is that it has peaceful music and is calming for de-stress. I do agree, it is helpful to de-stress. I would put it in the S. Mythic Heroes is a super unique gacha idle. It's like you have a spinning wheel that accumulates spins over time, a roulette wheel again, but less casino-esque. And then the more you spin the wheel, you can get upgrades to your characters. Upgrading your characters lets you progress in the story, progress in PvP, and they have multiple different game modes. Stemming from that Idols hero game that I talked about, they do take a lot of chapters from that book, but they also have a lot of uniqueness as well and some charisma to the characters. S tier. Old School Runescape is practically an idle game at this point because the only people that play it are bots. The only time I ever play it is to flip stuff on the Grand Exchange. In terms of an idle game, it's kind of trash. I don't like flipping things on the Grand Exchange. It's just worth it for the money because it's actually valuable currency, but there's too much to do in the game. It's barely an idle game. Having all of that useless content, what is the point? F tier. Pokemon Unite, apparently an idle game because none of my teammates will just stay on their phone or whatever. You don't have to leave. Why did you queue up for a match if you didn't plan on doing the entire match? It's not an idle game. F tier. I'm grouping all of these up together. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. AFK arena type games, the ones that are mostly PvP focused, where you just build up with your resources, leveling up your characters so that you can compete. These games are so good. They're really, really good. As for AFK Arena, it's one of those gold standard ones that everyone references whenever talking about these games, so I have to at least put it in the A tier. SpongeBob's Idle Adventures. How do you make a SpongeBob idle game boring? You literally ruined it. There was so much you could have done. It's like a Sims game. F tier. Idle Mafia. Are you a gang member? Do you really feel cool whenever you're playing Idle Mafia? I hate people attacking me, stealing my shit. I cannot stand to log into a game and see I lost how. I'm fucking done with this list, man. F tier. Everything else, F tier. Every other idle game is an F tier. I don't like playing them anymore.